And so now we come to this guy. Hi everybody, it's Mark here. I have a very complicated relationship with the Hierophant. It's my tarot birth card, so when you add up my birthday, the number reduces to 5, which is the Hierophant. And it has taken me a long time to embrace this card. I was raised Catholic, so there's all that overlay. It's a little too on the nose, the way Pamela Coleman Smith has done it here. Yeah, it wasn't until I read that the Hierophant means the revealer of sacred mysteries. And of course, I'm an astrologer, I'm a tarot card reader, so it all makes sense that I'm the Hierophant. It's just, oh my God, all this tradition and pomp and circumstance and following rules, just not for me. So anyway, we'll get to some of my Hierophants that I prefer. Definitely this is not one. I don't like any Hierophants that have kneeling subjects. I don't mind if there are other people in the card listening to what he has to say, but I prefer they weren't sort of just subjugated in this way. The one thing I like to say from this card, because honestly you could toss almost all of it, for me, is the set of keys. That for me is what the Hierophant is all about. He's going to let you in. He's going to give you the knowledge you need. And yes, in a structured way, like these columns, it can be like, a library or a church or a court of law or school, all kinds of structures that we have to move through in a hierarchical manner. So, and yeah, that's a mouthful. I don't like the naming of it either. I prefer some other names that we'll see as we go along. So, to bring in the Wizard of Oz reference, as I always do, this is the point in the movie where the wizard has been revealed as a regular man, so there is that kind of, unmasking the guru in a way, which is very Hierophant. But a more positive thing about this point in the movie is that he sort of lets the travelers know that they have attained what they have been trying to attain and achieve with the brain, the heart, and the courage. And he gives them a little token to show them that they have gotten to that point. And so he's kind of like, giving them a diploma in some sort of way. And that's kind of Hierophant. Okay, so the Tarot de Marseille has a very classic Pope. It's actually, this is French for the Pope, so he's not even the Hierophant yet. But again, we have the subjugation, which I'm not a big fan of. He's not even that into it. He's busy looking at whatever's going over here. Pull a card, see what's going over here. Could be the Empress, not good. Here's another traditional Pope. And it's beautiful, it's the Soprafino Tarot. And what I like about this one is people aren't kneeling, they're listening, and this one is turning away. So he may be rejecting what this person has to say. So I think that's a pretty interesting element to introduce to a very ancient depiction of this card. There's just it's a little bit bent in a way, which is good. Now some Hierophants that I just cannot relate to. This is from the Osho Zen. No-thingness. And that's exactly what I get when I look at this card. This deck, it's too abstract for me. It's got the bull, which is very Taurus, which is related to the Hierophant. He does have a key down here, but it's really hard to make out. And there is some scrolls, which I guess is some information that he's imparting on us. And there's nobody worshiping him or anything, but it's all kind of very muddled. What's the name of this deck again? I can't remember. I'm sure somebody out there can tell me. Okay, this is from the Modern Spellcasters, and oh, this is a very stern. This has really gone too far. In fact, I actually prefer this guy, or even this guy, to somebody with a whip, and it's going to be very painful. Whatever initiation he's going to put you through. He's got a red-skinned, maybe devilish person here. This looks like maybe a pagan female because she's secretly got the moon concealed. In other words, I'm not listening to you, buddy. You're too patriarchal. He's got a sealed book, which makes sense. He's very mysterious, more like the high priestess. He's not letting you see what's behind the mask. Again, that's like the all-powerful Oz behind the curtain. But I hate this whip. So I can work with some of these things, but it's just a little too dire and intense. The Fountain Tarot, just a little too, I don't know. This just looks like what is he, a toy maker or carpenter? I mean, I don't see any tools, but there's just this middle-aged guy, maybe he's monkish, opening up this box, and there's this light coming out, so he's revealing something. So I get it, but there's really not a lot of places you can go when the Hierophant is depicted like this. Here is a Hierophant from the World Spirit Tarot. Again, we get the kneeling. So this is Spanish for high priest, so I like the renaming there. But he's a little too bossy boots for me, and they're just a little too bowing down to him for me to be comfortable with this depiction of the card. Here's a Hierophant that is pretty standard. He's very popish. He does have a gentle look on his face. This is from the Connolly Tarot. I have my keys up here, which I like, and I like this gentle dove up here. And I like that these are not necessarily initiates. Again, it seems like they're just sort of listening. And actually, one thing that I like to think about as the Hierophant is he is a storyteller. And when I think of that, he's much more palatable. So people are coming around to hear his story, his myths, or whatever he wants to tell you. This is from the Slow Tarot, a very religious figure, kind of an interesting depiction because this is his flock, literally. And these birds up front are very white and very clean, and these other ones that are not really paying attention are kind of gray, dirty pigeon types. So I'm not sure what the creator is saying there, but at least there's something you can go off of in the card. No keys though, and I like to see keys. At least I don't see them. This is from the Cosmic Tarot, and at first I thought, well, this is too traditional. But then I looked closer, and yes, these are kind of traditional figures, but these are more sort of Romanian, what was called gypsy type figures. And so that gives two different perspectives, and he's actually looking at a tarot card and getting insights from it. So I like the way that sort of a mishmash of traditional popey imagery and a bit of this pagan-y kind of vibe. Again, pretty traditional, but I like this Morgan Greer because the keys are so prominent. I like that there are different colors for a more passive and a more active kind of key. Of course, the groovy orange and brownish coloring is very 70s, and he has a very gentle face. This is like the moon around his neck, so there's like a nod to the High Priestess, which I like, because I always feel that it's actually the Hierophant that is revealing the secrets that the High Priestess has. Another gentle Hierophant out in the woods. This is from the Dreaming Way. And it's just his eyes are closed. He's really not trying to sell you on anything. And his keys are just, hanging up in the tree. Oops, sorry, there they are, hanging up in the tree next to him. So you can take the keys or not take them. He's not going to shove them down your throat. I just like the gentle colorization, and I like the outdoor vibe for a change. This is from the Efflorescent Tarot. Very young Hierophant, which is, again, makes a nice change, and again, very prominent keys, and again, a nod to the moon. And there's no specific Catholicism being referenced here. We see this mind, body, spirit through so many of the depictions. It comes from this object here, and I'm fine with that because that can travel across all kinds of belief systems. So here we have one that I just wanted to show. This is from the Tarot of the Old Path, just that it's a high priest now, and also outdoors, which is an interesting choice. The bull and the elephant are off of the Thoth deck, and I'm not really sure what the elephant represents. I know this is Taurus the bull, but an elephant and a bull seem to have a similar kind of strength. I also like the, again, a high priest, not a hierophant, from the Anarchy. And and here's this, again, mind, body, spirit, staff. It's got the keys. And it just looks like a very wise, almost wizardly hierophant. This is the Mythic Tarot. It literally depicts Chiron, the myth of Chiron, the wounded healer and teacher. He seems to be giving us a blessing here. He seems to have the High Priestess's scroll as we know it. And it's unconventional. I don't love it, but I like what Chiron represents. And in the Spiral Tarot, we have a nod to Chiron. Again, a very gentle, teacherly looking hierophant with actually the glyph for Chiron is down here around his neck. So now we get into some that I quite like. They're not traditional, but they give me the energy of the Hierophant, that sacred kind of quality. As I said, I don't really like the traditional. This is from the Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot, and I just love her artwork for that. That's just always a selling point for me. But there's, certain ways you could read this card, and this looks like a same-sex couple that have just been wed, and it's different races, and this could represent a statue in a church or something. But I can also see this as like graduation day, and this is like a statue of the founder of a school or something like that. So I can work the card in sort of different ways. Mermaids have the best hair ever. Now we go to like the Dalai Lama, which is my brain isn't working today. You can tell me what deck this is from. One of my favorites, it's the Tarot de Sainte Croix. There's not much to say about this card. It's for me, a religion that seems less oppressive than a Catholic rendition. Very gentle Dalai Lama. From the Cosmic Tribe Tarot, this is a Hierophant who sees a lot of eyeballs on this card. But again, he has sort of that gentle sharing of his insights, a teacherly vibe. And I like it. I just sort of want to get that kind of feeling off of the Hierophant, and not that, oh my God, feeling this is too much. This is from the Numinous Tarot. They've renamed it the Visionary, which is I'm okay with. These crystals up here. There's an actual third eye. All of the 4 elements are tattooed on his arm. So now we're getting a very spiritual kind of Hierophant, which is fine, but it's sort of mixing a bit with the High Priestess here, especially because the mouth is closed, the eyes are closed, there's a third eye. I feel that he should be maybe speaking more. Now his hand is at his throat, and it's sort of coloring his fingers here, so maybe that's the way to get to that. So this is the Light Sears Tarot, and this is just the happiest Hierophant I've ever seen. You go through him to go up these steps to this sacred geometry. So it's all kind of vague and spiritual, which I quite enjoy. A lot of fireworks going on up here. And then once again, now on his t-shirt, we see the mind, body, spirit. So that's a very relaxed, unintimidating Hierophant, and I'm fine with it. Now these are my last two, and they're very different. These are maybe my two favorites. And they're both from my latest decks, so of course we always love our latest decks. This is from the Austera Tarot, and it's quite abstract. And the last one I'm going to show you is very real, so I can go either way. I like these eyes behind a book and a mouth where all this light seems to be coming from. Again, I love the storytelling vibe of a Hierophant. So we really get that in these pages of knowledge and information. A candle here is lit, and a pathway to like an inner sanctum. You have to sort of go through him. There's a flowering or growing pot on his head. So there will be growth once you go through him, and lots of insights with these eyes and lots of knowledge. And I just like it. It gives me the energy without nailing it down to a specific religion. But again, a more realistic one from the Fifth Spirit Tarot. This is definitely my favorite Hierophant when I'm feeling less abstract, because this is a librarian. She holds the keys. Here they are floating up here to all knowledge. She has a little Torah symbol ring here. This is actually the woman who is the head of the Library of Congress in the States. And so that's like all the moral laws of the country are encapsulated in these books, along with everything else you can find in books. And that makes sense because the Hierophant is about morality. It's just a gentle way. I mean, everyone knows you get a library card. That is a key to everything you could possibly want to know. And I think she's made a nice, in this little file card here, she's made a nice little nod to AE weight, where she's put A to E on the file card. So she's smiling, she's welcoming, she's willing to share her knowledge. I love it. So that's my journey with the Hierophant. I hope to see you next time when we go on to the Lovers, and maybe that's a more fun card for everybody to think about. Bye for now.